Welcome to the inside of a Mitsubishi Evo 9. Today we're going to be replacing this because it's broken. Well, it's not broken, but basically there's a stud, like a popper type thing, that connects these together, and the inside of it is missing and the top bit that's missing. So that just flops around and it's irritating. I'm also going to be replacing this gear knob with one that says Rally Art on it instead of Cobb, just because Rally Art. So this job is actually really irritating because to replace this, we have to remove the whole centre console to there first, because that's screwed in underneath there. Then we have to remove this whole piece, and we also have to remove the gear knob, obviously. Although, to be honest, that'll probably fit over the gear knob, so maybe I won't remove that. We'll see. Might not. Well, actually, no, I'm going to be changing that anyway. So yeah, so I'll remove the gear knob. We'll remove this piece, this piece is actually kind of easy to remove. This piece has a few more screws because it's actually screwed under there, and also there are screws behind the ashtray, and if I remember rightly, I think it just pops out from the sides. I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does. It may have a bolt actually. We'll look at that in a minute, but first off we'll get rid of this piece. That's got some weird marks on it there. I don't know what the people who owned this car before were doing with that, so I might have to get that re-trimmed if I can. Okay, so remove all of the rubbish from inside of here. I don't know why people store lots of rubbish. You'll see that we have two screws there, so that's the first thing we're going to remove. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that holds this in, so let's do that first, involving a trusty orange Phillips screwdriver. That's one screw coming out. Now I don't know anything about this car. I don't know if there's been additional wiring fitted for stereos. It looks like it's previously had an amplifier fitted at some point, because there is a stereo wire in the engine bay that I noticed. So I don't know what we'll find under here, if anything. So that's one screw out and the second screw out. I'm assuming we're going to have to remove the wire for the intercooler spray as well off the bottom of there, but we'll see when we get to that. There you go. All the screws are now out. That's that. This should be free. It's free to move. Okay, so that just pops up, obviously, does it? It's not connected to that in any way. And that should just slide out, and it does. Okay, so we now need to work out where the wiring for that switch is, which should be straightforward to get to. If you tip it up, you should be able to find it underneath. Yeah, so if you tip it up, you can see, if you look there, that's your plug for that, and that's the only thing else you need to remove. So we'll remove that, and then we will carry on. I might actually clean this up as well a bit. I will say, if you see me put these bolts in here, probably don't put them in there while you're trying to remove it, because as you tip it up to get to that, they'll all fall out. Dead easy to find, but there is actually a little storage compartment underneath your steering wheel. Pop all your screws in there, because they're not going to be in your way, and that'll make life a lot easier. So there, as you can see there, that's the intercooler mister unplugged, and we have the two screws that we were looking for, which are down there. So that's the next thing to remove. And then I'm imagining this just pops out. Oh yeah, it does. Right, yeah. Okay, so you just need to pull this up back there. That's your ashtray out. Job's a good one. That's out of the way. And there should be a screw. Yeah, one screw down there. That'll remove that. And as you pull this out, you'll obviously also have a wiring connector which will connect to that. You'll also have to remove that if you're going to take this whole panel out, which we are. And that's probably about it for now. So the next thing to do is to remove these two screws. Then we will remove that screw. Then we will investigate what they are down there. Oh, they're just little push clips. That's easy. So you just push the centre in and then pop them out. So that's dead easy. It's no screws there. So 3 more screws to do. This might just be a 5-screw job. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this Cobb gear knob. I don't know. Apologies on the sun, by the way. It's a rare sunny day. It's black. It's quite smart. But basically, to remove your gear knob, it will just be screw on. There you go. And that's that loosening off. So you just screw off, no problem. And there you have your Cobb knob. same, and 2 of them are obviously different for the back one, so you can't really get this wrong in theory. This, yeah, that's now loose. We just need to pop these sides out, and then that will come out. I'll probably return to this video in a second, just because it's a bit awkward to do leaning how I am. So as you start to do this, everyone will start cutting the grass with electric lawnmowers, petrol lawnmowers, making a hell of a racket, but yeah. So now you've got your centre console piece out. You actually don't need to disconnect your cigarette lighter wiring. I've noticed. I clipped this plug for me. You don't need to do that. Turns out, just disconnect this big one, which joins in sort of towards that direction, and that's connected to everything. So yeah, so the 2 little bulbs that I found, one of them actually connects into your cigarette lighter, and the other one actually connects into your ashtray. They weren't connected in at all, they were just sort of dangling free. Maybe the bulbs are blown, I don't actually know if they work, but I'm not really too bothered about those. So, to replace your gear gaiter, this is obviously upside down now, you need to remove these 4 screws, which will then release this plastic surround, and your gear gaiter will just be crimped in position. So you've got 4 little screws like this. Just remove all those, and it will come out. Like that. Now I've gone for a suede gear surround again, but I went for one with red stitching in it because it has red stitching in the seats for Recaro, just because I thought it'd be smart. It might not be, but anyway. Right, so there you go. There's your frame, there's your gear gaiter. It's as simple as that. Now this will actually be stuck to this. As you can see there, it's got glue on it. So you need to take the glue off, well, just basically peel this off, and then you're going to need to stick your new one onto it and then put it back in. Or you can just basically put it back in and it will kind of hold it in place. Up to you. I will glue this back in just because that's how it was originally. So there's my old one removed, and there's my new one. You order these to fit these cars, so basically it should have the little cutouts in the right position, hopefully. We will test it on this now first before we put the glue on, because if obviously it doesn't fit, then we're going to put that one back on, unfortunately, or we're going to try and make a way of making that fit. If it's just a case of trimming these little edges, that's no problem because you're gluing it to anyway, so it wouldn't really matter if it's marginally out, but as long as it sort of fits, we're all good. The shape looks pretty much the same, it's the same length anyway, so it's not actually going to cause a problem in terms of the distance of it that is needed. So as long as these aren't too far out and we can make it fit the frame, then that's all good. So I'll check it first and then we'll go and get some glue. Just going to use some like super glue type thing or boss stick or whatever we've got. Other brands are available. Yeah, and stick it to that frame because then it dries very quick, because suede on the plastic, it's not going to take long to dry. So let's have a quick check of it test fitting first. Yeah, so to line it up, you've got like that cut there, which is basically going to be the shortest point there, because all the other gaps are a lot longer than that one. So it turns out this doesn't actually fit properly. The gaps aren't in the correct position. It was listed for an Evo 9. I'm sure it was listed, well, it was actually listed for 6-speed as well, which this is. So I imagine this white piece here is maybe different on a 5-speed. I don't actually know. I've no idea. But this doesn't quite fit. So I will need to marginally cut these slots a little bit just to make it fit before I put the glue on. But at least I know where it needs to start from locating, which is that piece there, goes into there. So I could probably stick that piece on first and then work on the slots for the other bits. It's not far out, but it is one of the little slots, doesn't line up at all. But like I say, it isn't exactly the end of the world because it will be glued to this. So let's go and get some glue and we'll sort this piece out. Right, so minor adjustment. There we go, it's all aligned. So we now need to get our glue, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold up these bits, put the glue in, press it down, and then move on to the next bits. And then I'm going to make a cup of coffee, and then we'll go and fit it back to the car because it should be dried by then. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes really, because it's pretty quick drying stuff. Like I say, I'm using boss stick. It's an all-purpose glue. It's clear, so there you go. There are various other things you can use to do this with. Whatever sort of decent glue you find that's going to stick that to that basically will do the job perfectly. Right, so the time it took for me to make and drink a cup of coffee, this is all dried, so that's a perfect little break in the middle of doing this. It's now just a case of refitting it back into the centre console and then refitting the centre console back into the car. Which, if you watch this video in reverse, you could work it out straight away. I'll talk you through it anyway. Yes, that looks pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. We now need to go and fit this back into the car. But what I will do is I'll give it a quick wipe over first just to clean it up before I put it back in. I'll wipe the inside of it as well, because people always moan that I seem to take things off cars and never clean them up before I put them back. So that's going to be a new habit of mine for this year, is to clean up everything inside and out before I put it back together. So we're going to use pink sheen interior satin dressing from Auto Bright Direct. As you can see, I've used this a bit. I quite like it. It does give quite a nice shine to, well, not a proper shine, but it kind of cleans up stuff very nice. It smells alright as well. So I'll get to work cleaning all this up, and then it will all look nice. So if you remember that came out, that come out of this corner here. So we just need to slot that back in there like that, and that'll be ready to clip back in. So this clips back in this place here. So if you follow the join on the other side, you've got 2 clips there you'll need to push back in, and one in the back corner basically. And this is the clip that I sort of broke, but I will have a replacement for that, just like a little push fitting. We can now slot this back in there, and then we can clip it in. But what I'll do is I think I'll actually screw the part for the ashtray back in first, and the 2 bolts down there first. Obviously after I've plugged this wire back in, we'll do that first, and then we'll put the clips in on the side to locate it, because it's just in case, it might be a bit easier. It gives a bit of wiggle room if I haven't clipped it in there, just to get these bolts in a bit easier. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So slide all this back over, which is always easier with 2 hands. It's always good when you get into this position here. You can see like that hole there is pretty much lining up ready for a screw, and these 2 are lining up ready for a screw. So that's a good start. We now need to go and find the Phillips screwdriver that we left in the garage, and we can put it back together. As you can see there, this actually looks kind of smart already. It does look pretty good. The clip on here, actually, if you can see there, you've got like a ridge there that's designed to sort of close in on that, and it keeps it on that position. The other one, because it was knackered, it just kept falling down. It was really irritating. So I don't know, it might not look better, it might look better, who knows. We'll find out once we finish the job. We'll see. Oh no, it's that ridge there, sorry, it's a bit further down here. It's that ridge there, it's designed to clip on and around that. Yeah, that does look better. Cool. Right, anyway, I'll get these screws in, and then we will get the clips back in, and then we can start rebuilding all of this. Right, so I've just pushed that plug out for now, just and pulled the wires through, just to make it a bit easier, so I don't have to clip it in or wiggle it around in case anything comes off. So now I can just wiggle this centerpiece back in to position. No one's used that ashtray, I don't think. That's good. And look at that, it's a bit dirty on there, isn't it? Anyway, so I've got this to clean as well, so I will probably take this back out and give it a quick wipe over first, and then we are good to go. The problem is here, you catch all this when you're putting all this together. I don't know why they make car. Anyway, you end up scratching stuff for no reason. It's impossible not to scratch it, but such are cars. So I'll just have a quick comparison of knobs. The Cobb knob is fatter and shorter, and the Rally Art knob is taller and thinner. We're going to try the Rally Art knob. If we don't like it, we'll come back to the Cobb knob. But we're going to try that one first, obviously, because that's what we bought. And it also comes with the little sticker to tell you where each gear is, because there's nothing on the top of the Rally Art knob or the Cobb knob. I mean, I know where the gears are, but somebody else might not. So that there is going to get stuck on probably about there. That's where I've seen other ones located, so that's where that's going to go. And we're just now going to fit this. It's actually a little bit lighter than the Cobb knob, fraction maybe. That felt okay. That might be a little bit thin, but it reminds me more of what my Civic was, and the one in the Jazz, because they're quite small, but they're easy to change gear with. So anyway, we'll get this fitted, and then over time I'll decide if I like it or not, I guess. But yeah, so it just screws on like the other knob did, and then that's you done, apart from the sticker. Now, because of where it locates, your passenger gets a lovely view of the word Rally Art, and you get art, you get some art. But hey, you're going to be changing gears, you don't need to be looking at Rally Art. Plus it says it there. Right, so we're going to stick that on, and then job is done. So that's why I got it in red, so it all kind of matches under the dials and stuff. So that's it, job done. Looks alright, doesn't it? And quite easy.